And because Mr. Jokola has a meeting that he has to be at, I think fairly soon, we're going to go a little bit out of order and take him first. I think with respect to masking and testing at school.
Is that okay?
Is that all right with you, Bob, to go?
Just really the testing for the extracurricular programming, the masking at school now is optional. So that was decided a couple of weeks back. But really in regards to the Board of Health Order number 4, which required the testing of students and staff in extracurricular programming. I recommend that that program or that testing become voluntary and encouraged, except for the boys athletic teams who are currently in the playoffs. The boys basketball plays tonight in Norwood, and the hockey team plays Saturday night. And when their playoff run ends, the extracurricular or the athletics for the spring should just be encouraged, voluntary, not mandatory, as those sports will be outside. And also the incidents of COVID-19 in the community have substantially decreased from when the order was put into place. So I've previously, I think, shared with you my recommendation. I could read from it for, I don't know if this is being broadcast or for the audience, if I can just read that.
Sure.
All right. So with the decrease in COVID cases in Fitchburg, I'm writing you with my recommendation to support the Board of Health amending Order number 4, whereby mandated PCR safety check testing will only continue for the high school boys athletic teams, basketball and hockey, until their playoff tournaments end. The school department continues to encourage weekly PCR safety check testing for all students in extracurricular activities and spring athletic. Masks will be optional for any staff or student in extracurricular activity for the remainder of the school year.
Go ahead, did you have a question?
Yeah, I wanted to know, you probably already said it, but I didn't hear you.
Yeah.
When the playoffs do, when do they end?
Well, when they lose.
Okay, that's a good answer.
Okay. I don't know.
I hope they don't lose.
I hope they don't lose either. So, yeah, we don't know.
Okay, all right.
So currently, masking is not required for anyone indoors at school, if I understand.
Optional.
It's optional, right? And that is also the case
Yeah.
with extracurricular activities now?
Correct.
Yeah, and so testing is still required for, or you want to have it required for the hockey team and for the...
Right. After speaking with the athletic director and the trainer, they requested that testing continue until the playoffs end for the 2 winter sports teams still playing.
But there's no masking for them, correct?
There is not.
Right. It's not required anyway, I suppose it's optional.
Yep.
And how about for the staff and for teachers? Is masking also optional for them
It
now?
is optional, yes.
Both in the school and in extracurricular
Yes.
activities? Okay. And so essentially what we're going to be voting on, I think, is just testing from here on out. We'll make it optional as opposed
Correct.
to...
For the extracurricular activities,
For
that's what order
extracurricular.
number 4 was.
Right.
Those are covered under unit labor contracts, so there's agreements between the school committee and the various unions. So those are between the school committee and the unions. So
Did they sign contracts when they were hired to take?
they're represented by a union who represents all the teachers. So, and that information was presented at the February 17th Joint School Committee Board of Health meeting when I said how many teachers are participating or have given evidence of vaccination and what our statistics were in terms of staff and student testing.
Right, but vaccinated individuals also carry the virus, so if you're just going to vaccinate, if you're just going to test unvaccinated individuals, then that's discrimination.
Well, the testing is that, in the agreement with the teachers, is that they will agree to be tested once a week. So whether they test in the PCR testing or they do a weekly at-home testing. That's part of the agreement between the school committee and the teachers' unions, and different various unions.
Okay, this really is not for public discussion, I don't think, at this point, so I think certainly I think we understand your recommendation, and I would make a motion to accept Mr. Jokela's recommendations with regard to testing going from here on out.
For the extracurricular.
For extra.
In extracurricular.
But
yeah.
basically,
That's
order
what-
number 3.
That's what we're discussing.
Great. I was going to do that myself, but I'll second your motion.
Okay. And
And that's testing ending after the playoffs, and
Yeah.
becoming optional after the
Yeah.
playoffs? Yeah,
Until the playoff tournaments.
It's the only one, again, just to be clear, the only ones who we would mandate the testing would be just for the boys' basketball and hockey
hockey,
team
right, the two teams, yes.
who are in the playoffs. All other extracurriculars are voluntary and encouraged.
All right. And so individuals will still have the option to be tested voluntarily or to wear masks voluntarily if they wish. Right,
yeah, I'm in favor.
okay, so I think that motion passes.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for coming in.
Should we go back to the,
Do we want to deal with number 4 while he's here? Basically,
was, oh,
The meeting
basically, number 4 is, he just said,
between the union and the school
correct,
committee.
so I guess it just needs to be refreshed because it's several months old, but
What do you mean refreshed?
I think the order was written back in October, so I think we should either sustain it or rescind it. And he more or less said,
To sustain?
don't touch it.
Yeah, so I'll make that motion that we sustain order number 4 as is.
all right, I'll second that.
Order, why are you voting on things before there's a chance for public comment?
Exactly.
Yeah, you want to do the public comment now?
Did you want to just complete that, complete that motion that we just
Oh,
made?
I'm sorry, yes.
Excuse me, sorry.
Good, John, good.
So I second your motion.
Okay.
That we continue order number 4.
I'm in favor.
Right. That passes.
That passes.
So now we're going to go back to the petitions.
Is this a public hearing? Is what I thought it was.
It's not a hearing.
Well, but it says that, I guess we can talk, right? When?
We've already made a motion.
Without hearing us. You don't want to hear us?
Well, we're going to get to the public forum.
We're parents. No, you should hear us first.
Well, we were losing the superintendent. The superintendent had another meeting, so we had to deal, while we had him, we wanted to get a report from him. We'll go to the public forum now, how's that?
Where's the superintendent?
He's gone, he had another meeting.
You have another meeting to attend.
Oh, because this wasn't important. Well, that's okay. I can't move on. I'm going out.
So just so I know
You want to get it over with?
where we're at here.
I was thinking going back to number 1
Okay.
on the agenda.
Okay, we can open up the public forum. I think, as you know, anyone who wishes to speak should come to a microphone. We have a little trouble hearing you when you're speaking from the back. And if you would be so kind as to state your name and address when you do come to speak. Can you wait till I finish? Excuse me. So you'll approach the microphone. You may only speak on items appearing on the agenda, and we can allow 2 minutes time to speak. And if you would state the petition, the order, the ordinance, or resolution to number to which you refer, we would appreciate that. So we're in the public forum now. Did you wish to speak then?
I do wish to speak.
All right. Again, if you would,
First of all, before I speak, what did you pass already?
again, if you would come to the microphone so we can hear you.
Before I start to speak, what did you pass already?
We have passed, at the suggestion of Mr. Jokola, the,
It's no longer a mandate for testing for extracurricular activities.
Right.
It's
except,
No longer a mandate for testing.
correct.
right.
Upon
And
completion of the playoffs.
masking, we
Except for
didn't,
what?
Except for the playoffs in
just we
boys
have two,
hockey and
we have
basketball.
2 teams in the playoffs.
Once that ends, the mask mandate ends also. I mean, the testing mandate will also end.
Again, can we have one person speak at a time? It's very difficult to hear, I'm sorry, when you're sitting at the back of the room. So do you have a public comment to make?
I do. Now we're getting ready to talk about the vaccines and making those mandates, right? I have 12 people.
Again, I don't know if you heard me, but I asked you to state your name and
My
address
name is Jean Robbie.
and your address.
I'm on Water Street in Pittsburgh,
All right?
okay? 12 people, 12 family members. 3 within the last 30 days have all died right after getting injected. I don't have one person I know of who died directly from COVID.
Ma'am, can I ask you what issue you're speaking to?
The vaccines, because you have it listed in here. You have it listed on here. One of your things you're talking about is COVID-19 vaccinations, testing, and tracing.
Yes, we're
I'm
not on
talking
that.
about
We're in the public,
vaccines.
we're in the public forum right now, so you're going to talk about vaccinations,
Yes,
okay?
yes, I am very against them. I've lost too many people already. I have 2 friends who each got their vaccine 1 week apart from each other, and 1 week after each of them got a vaccine, he is now urinating blood permanently, and she is on a constant period. This is 3 months they've been going through this. This is my time.
This
So
is
you're-
not against, this public forum has nothing to do with vaccines. It has to do with the testing mandate for extracurricular activities.
And wanting to make vaccines something permanent for kids in schools?
Order number 3, mandating vaccination. It is on the agenda.
It is on the agenda. I'm against it. It won't happen. It will not happen to my kids, period. Ever.
It was just rescinded.
I lost an aunt and uncle within 30 days of each other after being vaccinated. The public media is lying to all of you. Do your research. 12 people, family and friends that I love.
Well,
Almost all of them are dead. 2 are dealing with
Rescinded.
problems now,
I don't,
and 1 is sitting there on his deathbed.
Ma'am, may I explain the order?
I'm just telling
It mandates
you.
vaccination or testing, one or the other.
None.
So
Not testing and not vaccination. The PCR tests have already been proven inaccurate. The man who developed the PCR test is dead. Why? Because he wanted to come out and tell everybody the truth. But you can't tell the truth. Not in this world, not today, because if you tell
all
the
right, well,
truth,
listen, I think
You're
your
gone.
2 minutes is up, so we
Thank
thank you
you.
for your comments. Thank
no
you.
vaccines and no testing, period. It ends. We're done. This is America, the land of the free. Let us be free.
Is there someone else who has comment?
My name is Tiffany Michaud. I live in Pittsburgh. I have 2 children that go to school here. I know you can't hear, sorry. For you to mandate any vaccinations or testing that is EUA is illegal. I told you this back in November when I spoke to you on the phone. I came here in December and said the same thing. I spoke with the mayor, I spoke with the superintendent, I spoke with you on the phone and told you that COVID testing was happening in the classrooms. You said that wasn't happening and that you would look into it, and it was still happening in the classrooms. You did nothing about it as of just this last meeting. So What you're doing is illegal. I hope it never happens again. And I hope these teachers do something about them having to get tested every week. It was twice a week. It's abuse. Testing a healthy individual for an illness that they do not have is abuse.
Could I just ask you, what is your objection to individuals being tested?
They're experimental tests.
I'm sorry?
They're experimental. They're EUA. You want to get tested? Go ahead, go get tested. But you can't force somebody to take an experimental test. It's illegal.
You're saying the testing is all experimental? Is that?
The COVID testing, yes, it is. It's under EUA.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So, in other words, if you go outside this country and you,
I'm not going outside this country. This is for school. I'm not talking about going out of the country. You said that the last time that I was here. It was about, if you have to go on an airplane to go out of the country, you're going to have to take a COVID test. Does it look like I'm going out of the country? I'm talking about my children's schooling.
I understand that. I'm just saying that when an individual goes outside this country and then wants to come back, you're saying that it's an experimental test and it...
It is. It's EUA.
And so we
Go on the
shouldn't...
CDC website and look it up. Why don't you look up the laws and regulations for DESE that you're also violating and the constitutional rights of people that you're also violating? No, but none of you go and look up the laws or anything else before you make these rules. You're making these rules. She didn't even know how a COVID test was run. She's a nurse. She was doing COVID testing.
I know
Doesn't know how it's
absolutely
run.
how
But
COVID
you're going to
tests are
vote to
run.
mandate it, even though you know nothing about it or the laws.
We operate under the Department of Public Health, and that's the guidance we
Yeah, you're
follow.
following the guidance. Follow the laws.
Same thing.
No, it's not.
Okay, I think your 2 minutes is up. We appreciate your comments again.
They just came out saying that poison control warning on the
Again,
rapid test.
could you please state your name and address?
Gina Giacosa, Fitchburg, Phillips Passway, COVID test, the rapid antigen test, which are the exact ones my
And
children brought.
I'm sorry to keep
Cool.
bothering you. Could you also speak into the
Have
microphone?
just been, by the poison control, issued a warning about the rapid tests and the chemicals on them that you're putting in your body every time you use the test. So I suggest we do our research.
You're not putting chemicals in your body.
The chemicals from the tests that are on the swab.
Excuse
yes,
me?
They are. Yes. Yeah. Do you guys do any research at all? Any? Does, yeah. The government issued what they want.
Time, please, you'll get your
It's
chance to
their
speak.
need. That is. Yeah. It's emergency use authorization. I have it right here. Poison control warning. COVID test nationwide includes liquid substance that could be toxic. It's got the picture of
The
the
only thing
box.
that you do is swab your mouth with them.
It's what they put on there. It's like a pesticide. It's number 1 on the U.S. list for a chemical. Don't shake your head. I'm giving you the information. Now you can
Okay.
look it up
I'm sure
for the
it's
next
accurate, too.
meeting. Yeah,
You think?
they're lying to you.
Okay,
We do our research.
again, I think your 2 minutes is up, and we appreciate your advice. Thank you.
45 seconds. You got 45 seconds. We timed it.
Done. We're done.
If you didn't talk over each other, you'd have more time.
Jacqueline Wedgie, Fitchburg resident. It's unfortunate that you went and voted on measures without receiving any public comment, although you listed a public comment period. That shows how authoritarian you are. I had prepared my comments in response to the Michaud petition, but now I guess I'll redirect towards your order mandating vaccination and testing for the staff. So what if it's part of a union contract? Who says they're going to have it in their union contract next year? Why don't you remove this? The president and the CDC have said we should be recognizing that this is an endemic disease and moving to normal. I don't know about you. I don't have to obsessively take COVID tests to engage in my regular activities. Your school employees shouldn't have to either. Other places like California, Utah, and the United Kingdom are recognizing COVID is endemic. and we should as well. In the UK, the National Health Service has stopped paying for COVID tests for those under age 80 because all the testing was bankrupting the healthcare system. Who is paying for this constant testing here? We, the taxpayers, already struggling with high inflation. What is the point of testing? To prevent or detect a, quote, outbreak. What does an outbreak look like in children? Many are asymptomatic, others have the sniffles. By being exposed to the virus, they train their immune system to more effectively fight off COVID in the future. The medical term is an anamnestic response. Repeated exposure to prime the immune system is why people get boosters, but natural exposure also does the same thing. What does an outbreak look like in adults? Queen Elizabeth, 95 years old, had mild cold symptoms. She continued with light duties and is now visiting her grandchildren. Under your mandate, school employees must be vaccinated. But if the vaccine you mandate works, you don't need testing because your employees, like the Queen, will be fine. And if the vaccine doesn't work, you should stop mandating it. And then maybe you wouldn't have such a shortage of substitutes and paraprofessionals, which are causing real difficulties in the school. This should be a matter of choice. And I also have an article I'll be passing out to you called COVID Testing of Asymptomatic Students Doesn't Make Kids Safer. One of the co-authors, Vinay Prasad, is an MD and an MPH.
Thank you.
I also would like to request, and if I can put it in writing, I will. I want you to prove to us.
We can't hear you.
Again,
I would like to
wait, before you stand up, let's let others who might want to speak have an opportunity of, you're all set? Okay.
I would like to request, and if I have to put it in writing and send it to each one of you, I want you to give me the proof that you have that there is a medical emergency in this state, in this country left. I want you to prove that to me. I want it in writing. I would also like you to prove to me that COVID is extremely dangerous, and prove to me that the PCR tests are safe, and I would like that in writing. If I have to submit that to you in writing, my request,
Please
do I?
do.
Okay, then you will have a time limit. Thank you.
Where do you think you are?
Are you bonded? Who's bonded?
I'm sorry, again, can't hear you from there.
Are you bonded?
Bonded?
Yes.
No.
What do you mean by that?
You don't know what bonded means?
I'm asking you what you mean by it.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else?
In the interest of democracy, there are people there on public comment on Zoom.
There are some individuals on Zoom?
Yes, just give me a moment.
Okay.
All right. For those who wish to speak on Zoom in public comment, please raise your hand and we'll get to you in order. Thank you. So, as soon as I get back to the thing, I will bring the first person in.
Shall I call their names, or?
Yes.
Okay, there's a name, Catherine Vitale.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I just wanted to say that the testing is dangerous, the vaccines are dangerous, they are under emergency use authorization. You have no right to mandate them. You will be held accountable if you continue these unlawful mandates. And you should probably look up the rules for open meeting laws because you cannot cut people off when they're talking to you. Public speak is for you to listen, not argue with the people that came to speak. You're supposed to listen. That's all.
Well, I don't think we've been arguing, but anyway, thanks for your comments.
You're arguing right now. Listen.
Again, thanks for your comments. Have you finished, or?
I took that as, all right, guess, probably should have planned this out a little better, but I guess for the purposes of this, I'm just gonna go to the next, when you say thank you for your comments, I'm gonna go to the next person from there.
Okay.
All right, and looks like the next person isn't immediately popping up, but I believe I have unmuted someone, so if they wish to speak, they may do so now. Well, at that juncture, when the chair has dealt that they have finished speaking, then they have finished speaking. There's also the 2-minute time limit as well. The chair has full authority over this. The next person is Tiffany Hamilton-Moore. And, sorry. Oh, Jesus. Yep, Steve, do you have a list of people who have registered?
I only had one.
Apparently, multiple have registered since the beginning of the meeting.
Oh.
My apologies.
Still only one. Let me just check.
I guess they must not be popping up because they've registered after the meeting has begun.
So you have a list of folks there?
I only had that. I only have this one, Miss Somero. I didn't have Miss Vitale.
Apologies for the technical difficulties there.
So there are no further individuals?
3 more with their hands up, but I've got to try to get them up
Okay.
and then see if I can get their attention to begin speaking.
All right.
Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Jessica Jacobson?
Yeah. I just gotta say, you guys should be ashamed, all right? This involves us parents and the school committee, all right? This wasn't notified by any of us parents. I just found out about it just now, this meeting. I have no idea what you guys just decided on that involves our children, but you're taking our rights away from the parents, and you guys need to stop. All right, I said this the last meeting, and we're still working on the paperwork, okay? You guys are all bonded, and we are gonna be going after your bonds if you don't stop this. All right, if you're gonna be trying to force vaccines on our kids and mandatory testing, all right, and all these tests and everything you guys are getting and purchasing is from China. Why are we even supporting outside sources? It makes no sense. All right, this is the least affected population of this virus. And on top of it, you're not even notifying the parents of these meetings. You're not involving the school committees. You need to be ashamed of yourselves trying to sneak in as the Board of Health without a parent's say. These are our children. And if you think we're just gonna let you mandate stuff without a parent's consent, or just sneak in, this is not right. It's not right. And you guys should be ashamed. This wasn't on any of the school board meetings. This wasn't on any of their agendas. And yet you're gonna make these decisions about our children without notifying the parents. It's our right. You are not doctors, all right? And if you didn't know, it's against the law to be practicing and putting medical decisions on our children and thoughts in their ideas and making choices, medical choices, if you're not even a doctor.
Is that the extent of your comments, or do you have something?
It really is. I mean, I don't know what you guys decided or what you guys are even talking about, because again, half the parents don't even realize you're making these meetings and these choices. You know how hard it was for half the parents that you just showed up to make it there, because it wasn't on any of the school committee meetings. It wasn't on any of the school. Nobody. You can't find this information, and yet you're going to make a Board of Health meeting and make these decisions that affect our children without notifying the parents? You should be ashamed. This is sneaky.
Essentially, I think we decided to make masking and testing optional, so that can become a decision of the parents if they wish to make it. That's the decision that was made earlier today, this evening, or this afternoon.
Steve, can you inform the audience where these meetings are posted?
They are posted online on the City of Fitchburg webpage.
And have they always been posted there?
You can go to the
Yeah, the
web.
Board of
You can
Health
go
meetings,
to the
but
webpage and.
you're making school choices. The school choices need to be informed with the school committee.
Ma'am, there's no
That's where the
there's no
parents are looking for
mandate.
the choices.
There's no mandate.
There's no mandate. You're
No.
taking off the mandate?
No, and actually, the superintendent of schools was here earlier, made the recommendations, and we accepted them. So it's, we're in agreement between the school
All right.
committee,
It's optional.
the Board of Health.
All right.
So thank you again for your comments.
Thanks.
Is there anyone else on Zoom?
Hi, I'd like to speak, please. And
Shannon?
I'd like some clarification, please. I know that you were just saying.
Hold 1 second, please, if you would. Your name is Shannon L.?
Yes,
All right, now you may go ahead.
thank you. I just wanted some clarification because I was under the impression that the teachers and the staff were being mandated the vaccine, or this was a discussion point at this, and that's why I'm calling in, because I'm a mother of a vax-injured child. And the problem is that people don't want to recognize vaccine injuries. And they happen, and they're not rare. And they're happening a lot more than people realize. And people cannot be mandating a product, a so-called vaccine, one that's not stopping transmission or spread and has the risk of death, myocarditis, pericarditis. You can't force somebody to keep their job at the risk of losing their life. And that's what I believe it was your agenda item, and I'm not sure now because you have me confused that you just said nobody is mandating that it's an option. So if I'm wrong, then I'm so glad. But I also want to say that it's appalling that there's confusion between laws and guidelines, because those cannot be confused. Find out the difference, because you guys are running amok, that you think you have a right to dictate and make decisions for people, and you don't even understand where your power begins and ends. You have angry people there, you have people calling in, and you need to listen to the public. You make decisions that affect people's lives, life or death decisions, and you better get your heads out of your asses and find out what you're there to do.
You know, I don't appreciate that language, frankly.
I don't appreciate you violating people's rights to bodily autonomy, treating people like crap that come there.
All right, I think your 2 minutes is up. Thank you. Is Tiffany Pembert there?
Yes, hello.
Yes, we hear you.
I just had a question. I wanted to know if any of you read any of the 9 pages of the side effects released by Pfizer.
Released by, I'm sorry, Pfizer, you said?
Yes.
Yes, I've read some of them, yes.
The 9 pages of the side effects?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
The 9 pages of the side effects?
Possible side effects.
No, the side effects from the test, their testing.
I don't think we're mandating vaccines.
No, there's no mandate for vaccines.
I'm not sure where that's coming from.
I don't either.
Yeah. We appreciate your protestations, but I don't know that we've mandated vaccinations. I think maybe people have been given a choice between testing and vaccinations.
The city of Fitchburg, as an employer, has the right to make their employees mandated to test or to vaccinate.
An experimental test and an experimental vaccine is against the law.
And it has nothing to do with your children.
It doesn't matter.
That's the only mandate.
They're teaching our children. It has everything to do with our kids.
All right, if you're going to speak.
You can hear me.
No, I can't hear you. If you're going to speak, please stand at the microphone.
It absolutely impacts the children because you can't find enough as paraprofessionals, you can't find enough substitute teachers.
Which is why the testing in the vaccine, because we want to make sure we have staff to teach your children. If they're all sick, that's not helpful. That's exactly why the mandate was in place.
Mandates aren't actually.
But the mandate,
Experimental. You're right, it's illegal to mandate and state employees, not for the public. And they don't call it law.
It's okay.
Read the law.
is there anybody else? Anybody else on the virtual?
Wait, we're doing Zoom right now. If you could wait your turn. We're all set? Okay.
All set?
Yeah.
Dina Hamad, Fitchburg resident. I think the issue is a lot of it's communication here. It sounds like nobody really knows what's going on. As you can see, most parents, if not all, don't want mandates anymore. You shouldn't be telling them what to put in their bodies, when to test, when to get a vaccine. I understand that you want to keep everybody safe. It's really not your place, though. It's not your place. It's not. If someone wants to go get a test, they go get a test. Someone wants to get a vaccination, they get a vaccination. I understand you're a nurse. Have you seen the data?
I work the data, yes.
I don't think that you do, because you wouldn't be arguing if that was the case. That's the whole thing, is I don't know that you've seen it all.
Not arguing.
And I'm not here to argue with you. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not here to argue. What I'm telling you is the residents, people in Fitchburg, people all around the world don't want it anymore. They don't want the mandates
We
anymore.
understand that.
Do you have children in school?
No. I have grandchildren in school.
I think this is part of the point, is that you guys want to mandate something that is for our children. It's just not what people want.
But we're not doing that anymore. And we don't like the word mandate either.
Communication.
So,
Communication is everything.
absolutely. I agree with you.
It's absolutely everything.
You're the first
So
one
it
who
was
said
clear and
that.
concise. It sounds like some people didn't even know this was happening. I think communication is a huge thing, because people, as you can see, are very, very upset about this whole topic. They're very upset about it. And if you're clear with what's going on and you explain what's happening, then I think that's part of the problem here, is you have to explain it. Nobody wants to be mandated to get
I
anything.
agree.
They just
I couldn't
don't.
agree with you more.
Yeah, they just don't. So I think it's a communication thing. I think that people need to understand what you guys are saying, because.
And we're trying to get out of that, so we're
there's
trying to end it all.
There's two Board of Health
Agreed.
orders in place. Number 4, or number 3 is, was a mandate for vaccination and testing in the public schools. Number 3 was, I had that backwards. Number 3 was for the public schools testing extracurricular activity. That has been modified and amended to no longer a mandate. So there's no mandate here for your children.
Okay, well, that's what people want to hear. They want to hear that. I think
Spread the
people are getting
word.
confused. They want to know exactly what's happening, and I think that's part of the problem. They want to be a part of this. They want to know what's happening. They want
we
you to
appreciate the
respect their
feedback, but-
feelings on things.
And
I
we
think-
want our feelings respected, too.
Exactly.
We're sick of being
No,
called
and
names.
I think that people do respect you. I think they're very upset and angry. If you notice what's happening in the world, this doesn't even look like the United States anymore.
There's a
People are
lot going
upset.
on
So I
right
don't
now.
think it's a lack of respect, with all due respect.
It
I don't
feels
think
like
it's
it.
that. I think that people are just very upset, and they want to be heard. They want to decide for their own families and for their own lives. And now it seems like a normalcy to walk around and let somebody else tell you what to do with your own children and your body. When did we get there? When did we get there,
Again,
honestly? I think it's
We're being accused of
communication.
forcing to do something, and there's no mandate there.
Well, that's good, and
It's
that's what
done,
people
it's
want to hear.
gone, okay?
Gone.
Perfect.
So let's live in peace and
Move
get through the
on.
rest of this.
Excellent. That's
all
what we
right?
want. Thank you.
Because this is not easy for us either.
Agree. I don't
And we live in a country of laws and
think that it's easy for
regulations.
anybody. I agree with you. I don't.
Let's, masking is now voluntary, it's,
No
it's
mask.
an individual decision.
It should be freedom of choice. Do what makes you feel safe.
And the federal government just did the buses, so it's getting there. We're almost there.
Perfect.
Let's
Thank
keep
you.
going. Thank you. You did great. Sorry for interrupting.
It was my sister, my nephew, and my husband I lost in the last 30 days, all right after being vaccinated.
Well,
I'm so sorry for that.
we're sorry to hear that, yeah, sorry to hear that. All right, I think, is there any other comment? Sorry?
He said there was another one, I think.
Oh, another virtual?
I think we're done.
No, we're done.
Oh,
There's
done.
no more.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just like to say, I don't think it's right for you to say that if, we're not working for the public schools, that we don't have a right to speak on that, and that try to shut us down because you say these are just parents, because it does matter to me what happens to the public school employees. And I would like to remind you what Martin Niemöller said. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He was one of the primary critics of the Nazi regime. He survived it. He was a German theologian. He said, "First they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. So I am here to speak for all the school department employees who don't want to be under these mandates. They're probably afraid for their job to speak up, so I'm here to speak for them."
We've allowed you to speak multiple times, ma'am. How much more time do you want to speak? You've been here every month. We've not cut you off.
Anybody else?
That's it.
Anybody virtually?
I think, well, I won't
okay, go
say
ahead.
it.
Sorry.
Yeah. So we're all set with that item on the
Forum
agenda?
is ended.
Sorry?
Nothing.
As I say, we have, as far as masking goes, that has now become purely voluntary. The only, and as far as testing goes, I think that's also going to be voluntary. The only testing will be for the hockey team and for the basketball team, I think, as long as they're in the playoffs. I just want to be sure that since they're interacting with schools in other districts and other regions, I think everyone wants to be as safe as possible. But as far as I'm aware, we have no mandates existing for anything anymore, do we?
That's correct.
So you folks can all go home and get a good night's sleep and not stay up worrying about this.
How about if we make a rule that we don't ever mask again? Ever.
Again, if you would stand up at the microphone, we'd hear you better.
I like a motion that we have a ruling that we don't ever mask again.
Well, I don't think, you want us to make a motion to that effect, you're saying? I don't think we can do that.
I think you should work on that.
It's not on the agenda. Can't be voted on.
Yeah. Well, it's masks, well, without getting into a long discussion of it, I think masks are one tool that we have to help to prevent communicable disease in general. So I don't think anyone in his right mind would want to make a motion that we never use masks again. I don't think that would be a reasonable thing to do. Again, think you all spend a lot of time working on these issues. We appreciate the comments. I think it's helped us to look at what we do closely. So we very much appreciate your work. Thank you very much. That's it, right, as far as that consideration. We're on to other things. Meeting minutes. Do you all want to sit and listen to the rest of our meeting? It's up to you.
Did you vote on the order review?
Sorry, we'll have to come to the microphone again.
Did you vote on the order review? Because I heard a motion, but I didn't hear a vote.
I'm sorry, a vote on what?
Which order?
Number 3 on your agenda, order review.
Yeah, we already did.
We made a motion.
We did it already, thank you, yeah.
Well, I think that pretty much takes care of the questions with regard to vaccination and masking. Do you want to move on then to the approval of the previous minutes?
Yeah.
Did everyone have a chance to look at the meeting minutes of February 3rd, 2022?
Yes, I did. I looked at them today. I think I had one comment about,
Okay.
or maybe. We voted on that already, yes. We voted to end the testing after school activities, extracurricular activities, until the end of,
She's talking about.
oh.
There's no more mandated testing that will be voluntary.
It's all voluntary.
But it says mandatory vaccination. That's what I'm talking about.
It's the one for employees that she's.
Yeah, no, we didn't do that. We are not voting on that one because that, according to Superintendent Jokola, is something, it's an issue between the unions and the schools. Okay? So you can take it, take it up with the school committee, I guess. Yeah, sorry about that. So back to the minutes. The only question that I had was on the minutes of February 17th. At the end, there's no second motion that was made, at least on this.
Okay, let me interrupt you.
Okay.
We were on the February 3rd. You said this is February 17th you're talking about now?
Yeah,
or-
so, I'm sorry.
No, that's right. As far as February 3rd goes.
February 3rd is, I make a motion to approve those minutes as is.
Okay.
I abstain. I wasn't at the meeting.
All right. I didn't see any problem with those minutes either, so I would second that motion.
And I'm in
Now you
favor.
can go
Now I
February
can go.
17th.
Thank you. Okay, so for the next minutes on the 17th, they were perfect. Great job. Karen, you did a great job on these minutes. The very last sentence, it said that I made a motion to adjourn, but it was never seconded by anybody according to this.
Oh,
So didn't you?
I think I may have seconded it. Maybe you
Yeah,
just
so we
somehow
just
didn't
need
get it.
to
Yeah.
clarify that. And otherwise, I make a motion to approve these minutes from the 17th. Nicely done, Karen, except for that one thing.
I second. Well done. Those are hard minutes.
Yeah, they were.
I agree as well. And then I think the page 29 that you gave us is just purely informational, Steve? Nothing?
Sure. As part of the update, COVID update, I was on the beginning of the second item on the agenda. I'll give a very brief update.
Okay.
if that's
Oh,
okay.
yes, yep, okay. We're bouncing around the agenda
I
here.
know, sorry.
So I'm happy to report that the positivity rate as of yesterday, actually it's from the period of February 13th to February 26th, is 3.4.
That's awesome.
So that's 92 cases within a 2-week period, 2,742 tests. We are down to somewhere around 62 active cases in the city, which is great news. Still 62 more than we'd like to have, but we're heading in the right direction.
I'm sorry, Steve, what were the dates of those again?
February 13th to February 26th.
Okay, so prior to everyone coming back from school vacation and so on.
We don't have the
Correct.
data yet.
Correct. As far as cases go, we have 62. 13 cases are under age 18, 6 are under 5 years old, and 43 are equal to age 18 or greater at the moment. We've had 17 cases in the last week, 215 in the last month, 2,957 confirmed cases since January 1, 2022, and we've had 16 deaths since the beginning of the year. As far as vaccination information, at the end of your packet, Dr. B already mentioned, very quickly, 76% of the city has received their first dose. 65% are fully vaccinated. 55% are boosted. So those numbers are a little better, but they are still lagging behind the state numbers. Some trends, interesting trends. First dose rates have increased by 6%, which is above the statewide average of 5% over the past 2 months. Within the weeks of January 18th and the 25th, showing the greatest number of new doses given. Other trends, fully vaccinated rates have increased 6%, which is better than the state, which is 4% over the past 2 months, with an increase beginning in January, possibly driven by the Omicron spike.
And we had a little further to go, too, than some of the other regions of the state, I think, so.
Correct.
Yeah.
Booster rates have dropped off over the last 2 weeks after steadily climbing, and I apologize, this data is as of February 8th, so it's a few weeks old, but it's the most recent. Booster rates have dropped off over that 2-week period before February 8th, but it steadily was climbing in December. Demographics in the city, very interestingly, white residents make up the largest number of unvaccinated individuals, and it's followed by Hispanic residents. Hispanic residents' vaccination rates have increased 6% in the last 2 months. 5 to 11-year-olds and 20 to 29-year-olds is the lowest vaccinated rate in the city. Those age groups, 5 to 11 and 20 to 29. They make up the largest population of unvaccinated residents. While a majority of the Fitchburg unvaccinated population is white, a disproportionate number are Hispanic. The northern areas and areas around Fitchburg State University are the areas that are identified as where vaccination rates are the lowest. So I thought that was interesting information to share.
Yeah, because isn't the actual student body at Fitchburg State University is close to 100%, if not 100%.
Correct.
Right?
So I would think unless the students of Fitchburg State actually reside in Fitchburg, their vaccination information wouldn't be counted in Fitchburg. It would be counted where they reside.
Right.
So the state vaccination rate is at around 82%, and we're at 66, so a little bit lagging. As far as testing goes, There is our COVID site down at the Fitchburg Airport will continue until March 31st. April 1st, we will no longer have a testing site. So we're going to lose that test site. So I recommend folks take advantage of it. Those numbers are decreasing, the use of it, but it will be here until the end of the month.
Yeah, I think because the infection rates seem to be diminishing, individuals are not going out and there more people are vaccinated, the illness seems to be less severe. I think less people are availing themselves of these treatments. So hopefully things will continue this way, this trend will continue, and we won't need these things.
And I'll just, one more comment about vaccination. We're going to get away from using this building for a little while. The vaccines have slowed down. I believe we only had about one person on Saturday. So we will go back to doing pop-up clinics. So if folks are looking to become vaccinated, the best thing to do was to check our website. We will update that very shortly on the various pop-up clinics that we will be doing in the next couple of weeks. And that's my update.
Was this yours, Sandy, or?
I just didn't know, I printed it off from, I didn't know if you wanted it or not. I've been watching it every week, and the numbers have just dropped dramatically, especially for Fitchburg. I've been watching them go down by the hundreds.
Well, I think hopefully we don't encounter another variant or some other viral entity to set us back. I think as long as the trends continue this way, we're going to be in pretty good shape.
I think so, too.
Yeah. I think that, number 5.
Number 5. I did leave it on the agenda, so just a quick update. A response was prepared this week and submitted to the Commission Against Discrimination, and a copy was forwarded today to the board members of that written response, and also was served to the complainant as the requirements, as the MCAD board requires. It was served. So that's really the update on that issue.
And so that response will be considered by the commission or whoever looks at it, and we'll hear back, I presume.
That's correct.
Yeah, at some point.
I'll make a motion to adjourn then. Are we done, or?
Yeah.
Do you want to adjourn, or?
Yep.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Did we address Ms. Michaud's petition? Are you all set with, Ms. Michaud, are you all set with the petition?
This was...
Am I happy about it? No, not really, because you still have
I'm
mandates.
not asking you happy, ma'am. I'm asking you if you still wish to present. I assume you did present it already. Am I incorrect?
No, yeah, we're almost set. Thanks.
I can't understand you.
I'm all set, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, the acoustics in here are difficult.
Yeah, you can adjourn.
So
I
we need
second.
to second the motion.
I second the motion.
Okay, then we're all in favor of adjourning. Next meeting is April 7th.